Labour Party conference on the last day, the delegates voted to privatise the rail. Oh, it's not privatise, renationalise.
Renationalise it.
Unprivatise, yeah. The rail.
Well,
now, whether it's just rail track or the whole of the rail system. But it looks to me as though there's a little bit of, even in the country, notwithstanding Labour supporters, there might be a move a bit to the left, because I think some people are just fed up paying through the nose for gas and electricity and travel costs and so forth.
Being bled dry on everything.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, with the rail, and the HS2 argument can be brought into it, but that's it is another kettle of fish, really. With the rail, unfortunately, until they find a way to undo what Dr. Beeching did,
make all the small stations, can bring them all back
road
again.
Builder who cut out, as you say, all the small stations, and as a result, you had only the main lines, and therefore people are having to pay a lot more to get between those lines.
I think that's an argument,
and then they have to pay.
But I don't think it's the essential argument. I mean, a lot of people say, well, more people should travel by rail. There isn't the capacity. Louise Ellens and Maria Regal, they're both transport shadow
I couldn't
ministers.
afford to do it regularly.
Well, that's another issue. Actually, it's probably not so bad going from Liverpool or Manchester to London. I mean, if you buy the tickets at the right time, it's not so bad. But if it's not bought at the right time, it's cheaper to fly.
Yeah,
it's cheaper to fly from Manchester to London. I mean, that's how bad it is. But if people say, well, there should be more freight. Well, what the answer to that is more freight on the trains, less on the tarmac, I suppose. The thing is, you're going to have huge queues at railway stations.
Yeah.
So
because there's not enough there's not enough railway stations anymore. That is where the problem lies.
So you've got a very big problem about transport, and the high speed 2. I'm all in favour of it because, of course, we're up north, and it's going to bring, I would think, more. I'm
a bit annoyed that it doesn't. It goes to Manchester, and we've still got to
make
your way to Manchester.
Well, they're talking about building a high-speed link from Liverpool to Manchester. That's very recent. So they're talking about doing that because
so recent. I hadn't heard about it.
There's probably been a lot of people shouting about it, hasn't there? So I think that's going to happen. But it's, of course, people living down south, they're going to see all their countryside wrecked. That's why.
That's it. You've got the NIMBYs.
And apparently it's starting around Camden as well. I saw someone from Camden on the news talking about it, saying it's going to wreck this. All these houses going to come down, and it's going to cause big disruption.
Yeah.
But they don't care, do they? Really, all they're thinking about is what's going to affect them at that time.
But what happened to the original old railway cuttings that were running some of those routes?
Well, it went on the roads, and it's more efficient to go. Well, it's not efficient because of the capacity. But it wouldn't work, Dave, to just open up all those. It might work for commuters. It wouldn't work for freight.
Maybe not.
In the sense that more people would use it because there's closer. There was closer stations to them.
I can only think about an experience I had 3 years ago. My car was off the road. I'd made arrangements to go to my brother's. The weekend I had away, the last weekend 2 weeks ago that we talked about, and my car was off the road. So I had to book the train, and it was a case of going into London and then back out to London again, and it cost me just over £75.
In what?
On train fare.
A train fare.
Now, it meant that I could only travel with one bag because I couldn't carry anymore. And there were things that I would normally have taken to my brother's in my car. And it would have cost me less in fuel. Yeah,
if you ever go to Fringe meet, which you probably don't, but I do because I go to Labour Party conference sometimes. Well, I didn't this time because in Brighton, too far away and too expensive. But if you go to the Fringe meetings, there'll always be transport Fringe meetings, and you've got the Green Lobby, which I understand what the Green Lobby's coming from, saying give up your car, go on the train, give up your car, cycle. It's not practical for most people.
It's not.
And it's not cheap. It's cheaper to put an older car on the road than it is to spend the money on train fares a lot of the time.
That's true.
And cycling is very dangerous because we're not built for it in cities, not like Amsterdam.
Well, Brenda, I disagree with you there. One of the problems from there, I don't know whether you have a view on this, Anthony, but the situation with cycling is you've got a lot of cyclists who are untrained. You wouldn't let somebody loose on a motorbike with that level of experience or knowledge on a main road.
Are you talking about all ages here?
Yeah, I am. I'm talking this transcends all age ranges, all cultures. There are idiots on bicycles. There are also idiots in cars who don't believe bicycles should be on the road. Because bicycles don't pay the excise tax on the exhaust fumes, which we call the road tax disc, there are car drivers who don't believe that bicycles should be on the road. Now, there are still... I was watching YouTube a couple of weeks ago on this. It's so funny. There are people who will run cyclists off the road or get in their way with the cars and say, no road tax, no rights. Police cars don't carry road tax discs, and neither do electric cars. Would they do that to them? That's another issue. I quite honestly don't think that most people do think that. Most car drivers, they're too involved in their own lives to worry about, whether cyclists should be on the road, whether they're paying the road tax and everything. I really do. I think, in these areas in Liverpool, you don't see too many dangerous cyclists. You do in London, because there's a lot of them in London, and they're on the pavements, and they whiz in and out of traffic.
Yeah,
now,
couriers in London, isn't it, as well? On the bikes.
And
yes.
So it's
like the one that got sandwiched between two buses.
Yes, I mean, I can't see it working to a large degree. And of course, the Barclays bikes, which you sort of pick up and drop off, which are free in London, they've worked.
Yeah.
But I think it's only in a place like London because most people don't drive; they use the tube, or they're looking for another method.
And the other side of that is in London itself and the city. The speed of the traffic is so slow because the roads are so congested.
And then they've got the
bicycles are quicker.
So London is a special case.
Yeah.
But most of the people I see on bikes, and I know I'm not talking about just recreational biking where you go out on a Sunday afternoon with your kids. That's a different thing. But using bikes are mostly men, not many women. Might be students, but there's not many women.
Not as many women, no.
There's not that many women on the. You look now when you go out on your rounds because you're in the car all the time. Just see how many women you see on bikes. Very few. A lot of young men.
Yeah,
I nearly
took one out.
And children sometimes
at,
you get.
5:00 last night.
Yeah.
He was cycling towards me, wrong side of the road, no lights.
No. Well, that's again another issue.
Again, was one of those issues.
Speaking, the green issue with that is out the car, stop the emissions, on more walking and cycling. It's not useful to everyone, particularly women. Women need the car for short journeys.
Yeah.
You can't leave the car at home and do, like I've done, run a family, see to your elderly parents, maybe go and do a part-time job. You can't do it on public transport and doing shopping. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So the car is used for is essential.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you can't afford one. That's a different issue. Then you have to use public transport. And it must be very hard for young people. Wouldn't you say so?
We don't drive, so
you don't drive, so you're on the bus all the time.
Yeah. Today we got a taxi down here, but we're on the bus and the train a lot.
How do you I mean, I've got friends who are like that. There's seemingly have you got a driving licence? No. This is another thing, Dave. There's a lot of people that don't drive now, younger people. Whereas that didn't happen. Most people, it was like a rite of passage to learn to drive. It isn't now so much. And do you manage okay?
Yeah, we're all right at the minute. Sorry. Yeah, we're all right at the minute. I've never wanted to drive. I don't know why. And but I think my fiancée, she'll be learning to drive soon because with the baby, it's going to help.
It's difficult, isn't it?
It's really hard since you had the baby in the pram. You don't realise. You used to just walk out the door, and now it's just. You've got to pack everything up for the travel now.
With what Brenda was saying, you bear out something. I didn't pass my driving test till I was 35.
Yeah.
And I originally was put in for my driving test at 18.
Yeah.
Now, as Brenda said, it was a rite of passage. I had a friend whose family owned quite a big Chinese restaurant in Liverpool, and there was a big joke about him getting called out of class at school because his car was blocking in the headmaster and the senior housemaster because they had Ford Escorts and he had this huge Volvo. So at that particular time there was an incentive to get a licence, but I didn't have the money to carry on with the lessons and subsequently didn't cancel the test and failed it. Then circumstances meant that I didn't have to drive.
That's right. I think you get used to not driving, don't you?
Yeah, and the only reason I got back on the driving lessons and took my test was because I was a shop manager at one point, and my boss had expansion plans. And
so,
he said
so it was necessarily part of your job, wasn't
yeah, it became a necessary part of the job. That was the reason I then took my test, passed my test, and got a car.
Well, I passed my test at 21, first time, and it was very unusual for a woman in those days to own a car. And I went and bought my own car as well. And there was no woman in the family, unless they were in...
I knew there was a reason I admired
the bloody...
this lady.
unless they were in the land army, then the women didn't drive. Unless you were very rich, you maybe had learned to drive. So mostly it was men that drove and they had a car, if you were lucky enough to have a car in those days.
Yeah.
I think I was talking about a million years ago. This was sort of 70s, if you like. So myself and my friends, we were the first ones really to do it. And I remember going to Nottingham driving school, and I think it was about £1 a lesson or something in those days. I remember dragging myself up there because after the first few lessons I was frightened.
Yeah.
You know, they'd take me down Scotland Road in the traffic and at tea time. And I used to look at these older guys driving, and I thought, if they can drive, so can I.
Yeah.
So it was a feminist statement as well. Yeah. But that freed you up then, because we could go to Wales and everything. Mm-hmm. So... But it's been a boon in my life as being the car. There's no doubt about it. So, anything else we'd like to talk about, and we'll wrap this up, and then we'll get Anthony. Is it Anthony?
Yeah, Anthony.
Anthony, yeah.
Is there anything you've seen in the paper that
I just, the only thing I write when I read newspapers now, I'm a sportman.
I was going to say, he's got Everton, folks. He's got an Everton track top on.
I've always got my Evertons. I've always got the badge on somewhere.
Okay, so have you got any comments on, as one radio presenter put it, Suarez? I try not to talk about him.
Well, he did. The Evertonians won't talk about Liverpool.
No,
they won't do that. They won't do that.
No, they won't.
You got to play
Everton
the game.
aren't doing so badly, are they?
What? Sorry,
they're not doing so badly. Everton.
No, it was.
They started off the season very well.
Yeah, we started okay. It's just it was a bit of a knock the other day. We're getting beaten in the cup, but I wasn't too bothered with it because it's the League Cup. I'm not too. If it was the FA Cup, I would have been gutted. But no, just concentrate in the league now. If we get beat on Monday, it'll be the end of the universe.
Who are they playing on Monday?
Newcastle at home.
Why is that going to stop you? Will you drop down the league then?
Yeah, probably. It's just
well, are you about fourth or something?
Yeah, I think we dropped down to fifth now.
Fifth, right. Well,
I'm not a fan of football, so
no. Well, I'm a mad Liverpudlian, but I have people around me that are Evertonians. Yeah. So I understand a little bit about what goes on in each team.
My only interest is I like it when one of the teams brings the trophy back to this city. That's as far as I go. And I mean when they had that the derby final and both teams were together. That was brilliant.
My son-in-law, for his sins, is a Manchester United supporter because they live out that way. And when he first came with my daughter to meet me and everything, to sort of find something to talk about, he said to me, "Which team do you support?" And I said, "This is terrible, you're going to hate me for this. Why would anyone support Everton?"
Right, goodbye, I'm off. See you later.
And he laughed, I thought, what a question. Anyway, never mind.
Let's get back to politics.
Let's get back to politics. He's awful upset. Then I get awful upset, Evertonians. Right, should we have the newspaper jingle again?
Yeah.
And maybe a tune. If you want to play one of Anthony's, he's brought it in.
Okay.
And then we'll talk to you about it. So, it's,
why is that not... It didn't want to play then for some reason.
I won't say that.
Okay, have you got the CD?
Yes, I have.
Can we play one of the tracks?
Yeah. Any track you recommend?
The first one's called Dreams. It's a collaboration that I've done with Doorstep Rebellion, he calls himself.
Okay. Is this Owen Hughes?
No, this is another one.
Somebody else?
He calls himself Doorstep Rebellion.
Okay, let's see what we've got.
That playing?
Yeah, it's playing.
Right.
We need some headphones.
I like to talk now.
Pardon?
I like to talk now.
Yeah, we're sorry.
Fall to the die.